Israeli officials are debating the U.S. brokered deal with Gaza amid reports of strikes along the Strip. The ceasefire expected to go into effect 24 hours after that meeting ends. Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin takes us through the agreement from Tel Aviv.
Waves of emotion erupted in Hostage Square in Tel Aviv. In Jerusalem, President Trump's envoys Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Fox News had the first official reaction from an Israeli minister after the deal was signed.
Is this the end to the war in Gaza?
This is the implementation of the first phase. There will be a ceasefire, and then the commitment within 72 hours of Hamas to release all the hostages. That should bring the end to this war.
A ceasefire had not yet taken effect when the IDF struck a suspected group of Hamas militants who got too close to them in northern Gaza. Hamas says it does not know where all of the 28 deceased hostages are. All 20 living hostages should be released Monday or Tuesday. Then nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners will be released. Now come the tougher issues as part of Phase 2.
Will the government of Israel now accept a Palestinian state? Is this a step towards statehood?
President Trump's plan saying that the PA should work and really reform.
President Trump was non-committal.
What is your view now on a two-state solution for the...
I don't have a view. I'm going to go with what they agreed to.
In Gaza, Palestinians celebrated the end of 2 years of military operations that destroyed 90% of the Gaza Strip.
We don't want them to take their hostages and then return to the war.
Hamas said that aid trucks will begin entering the Gaza Strip on October 10th.
We have received guarantees from the mediators and the U.S. administration assuring us that the war has ended completely.
Hamas says they have guarantees from the United States that they will not be subject to assassination. The Israeli government is still meeting to discuss the deal. And we've just learned that Jared Kushner and Steve Witkoff, when they joined that government meeting to answer questions, were greeted with a round of applause. Brett?
Big deal. Jennifer Griffin live in Tel Aviv. Jennifer, thank you.
Lawmakers from both sides of the aisle are now heaping praise on President Trump for securing Phase 1 of a peace deal between Israel and Hamas. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer releasing this statement saying, quote, "The work is not over, but any step to end this nightmare is one that should be celebrated and carefully implemented and followed through on." Also, House Speaker Mike Johnson out with this, posting in part, "This is a truly historic achievement, one that only President Trump could have delivered." And then there's Democratic Senator John Fetterman posting this, quote, "I congratulate POTUS on this historic peace plan that releases all the hostages. Now enduring peace in the region is possible. Our parties are different, but we have a shared ironclad commitment to Israel and its people." The Pennsylvania Democrat now joins us live on the program. Good to have you on the show today, Senator. Good to see you. What a momentous day this is for, I think, not just the president and the administration, but for both parties. I remember when you first began to get a lot of criticism from Democrats in your own party about your support for Israel and your support for President Trump's efforts to try to bring peace into that region. Are you surprised by this reaction today? And isn't this a win for everyone?
Well, I know I've taken a lot of criticism because I've been very committed to Israel from the door of this. I don't really understand that. I think our party should have been firmly behind Israel through this, but I'm going to follow Israel through it. And President Trump has a very strong commitment to Israel, and that's why I celebrate and support most of the things that they've done, including the Iranian nuclear sites. I believe I might have been the only Democrat that supported them through it. So now today, I think it's entirely appropriate to celebrate this. Thank God this terrible war is going to end, and these poor souls kept underground for over 2 years can come back home. So I don't understand why anyone's reaction would be other than that.
You know, Bill brought this up earlier in the program. There's a lot to come in the next 3 or 4 days, and one little thing going wrong can, upend all of this. And we've seen that in the past historically with this region. How do you feel about where we are in this moment right now? I know it's a joyous moment and we're all celebrating, but do you have a little bit of pause too?
No, I mean, I think it's incredibly comprehensive kind of a plan. And you also see, now you have Hamas fully saying they're committed to this. And of course, Israel is now too. But what's also very important too, all of the Arab nations around, whether it's Egypt and Turkey and Qatar as well, have really pushed Hamas, saying this is going to be the best deal you're ever going to get. And this awful war needs to end. So I'm actually optimistic that we have a chance for enduring peace. Another part of it is what Israel has accomplished through this entire war. They have destroyed Hamas, they have destroyed Hezbollah, and also they stopped Iran for acquiring a nuclear weapon, and I fully supported that. Now Syria now is free. Now think what's accomplished here, so that's why we could have true peace in the region now.
Do you think the president deserves a Nobel Peace Prize?
Well, I mean, if this sticks, I think the whole point of having a Nobel Peace Prize is for ending wars and promoting peace. And I'm going to make a direct appeal to the president. I hope he chooses to provide the tomahawks to the Ukrainians too, and give them the tools that they need to push back against Russia. And if he brings the Ukrainian war to its end, I'll be the Democrat leading the committee for his Nobel Prize Peace for ending both of these terrible wars.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Senator Fetterman, thank you again for joining us on this very historic day.
Jackie, thank you very much. There are so many scenes playing out in the Middle East right now, in Israel, in Gaza. And this is coming from last night to begin with, because, of course, they are 7 hours ahead of us. Crowds are coming together to celebrate the historic step forward toward peace. And Israel is sharing excitement and appreciation.
I'm all shaking and get ready for them. Please come home now.
We cried all morning. It's been 2 years that we are in horror, and that's a great day. That's a great day. Thanks to Trump, thanks to Bibi Netanyahu, thanks to everyone.
We thank President Trump and our brave soldiers.
Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yinks is in Tel Aviv right now. Trey.
Harris, good morning. The war in Gaza is almost over. For the first time in months, there is hope across the Middle East. President Trump has been able to do what so many thought was impossible. Celebrations erupted in Hostages Square overnight in Tel Aviv as Israelis processed the news that all of the remaining hostages held by Hamas will be released in the days ahead.
I want to thank President Trump for bringing this amazing victory. That's the name for it. That's a victory. He deserves a Nobel Prize for this, a Nobel Peace Prize for bringing this amazing deal.
Similar moments of joy unfolding inside Gaza as crowds of Palestinians cheered and chanted. After 2 years of war, an influx of aid and relief will make it to residents there.
Honestly, these are indescribable feelings. We can't believe it. But thank God the war has ended and we are alive. Honestly, we hope the war does not come back and for this to be really the end, with no death and destruction afterwards.
The Israeli cabinet is set to formally vote this evening on the deal. Once that vote passes, Israeli forces inside Gaza will have 24 hours to pull back to agreed-upon lines within the enclave. President Trump says the 20 living hostages will be released on Monday. Israeli media reports the exchange could take place even sooner. Local hospitals are already preparing for their return. The hostages will be swapped for nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners, 250 of whom are serving life sentences. As for the bodies of the remaining 28 hostages, a joint task force from the U.S., Qatar, Egypt, Turkey, and Israel is reportedly being set up to help locate the remains. Remember, this is phase one of President Trump's 20-point peace plan. There are certainly challenges ahead, but both Israelis and Palestinians agree President Trump has made history. Harris?
A big, beautiful peace deal. Thank the Lord. Trey, thank you.
All right, let's bring in Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor, for his thoughts on all of this. And the big question that I have, Ari, because we've been close to this before, only to see it kind of slip through people's fingers, is this actually going to happen? Because Hamas does not have a great track record in keeping to its obligations.
Well, they have released hostages before as part of the previous negotiations. And so Hamas actually does have somewhat of a track record of releasing people. If they were to go back on it, I cannot imagine the punishment they're going to receive. They have now gotten the Israeli people so excited, they have gotten the world so excited. For them to renege, to do anything other than honor the agreement that they themselves inked yesterday with Israel, would be the most remarkable of all. So I don't think that's going to happen, John. And that's a tribute to the international pressure and the Arab pressure, frankly, the Muslim pressure that Donald Trump has created on Hamas, which is what's remarkable about getting this done. That is the singular part of the Trump achievement. He put pressure on Hamas through Hamas's neighbors. Never been done before successfully. And so I'd be very surprised, John, if the hostages are not released.
But if they adhere to this agreement, it really is sort of, signing off on their own demise, because Hamas will cease to exist, with the exception that I found this very interesting in the statement that was released and put out by the president last weekend. The last line in the Hamas statement was, on the future of Gaza, quote, to be discussed within a comprehensive Palestinian national framework in which Hamas will be included and will contribute with full responsibility. Now, that was not reiterated in the statement they put out last night. But that clause, Ari, sounds suspiciously like they want to hang on to power in some way.
And that is inconsistent with the 20-point plan that President Trump announced with the support of 7 Arab neighbors and then Turkey being the 8th Muslim nation in the area. Look, Hamas is going to try to cling to power. I don't think anybody should expect that they're going to just go along. But that is now, again, where international pressure has to come to bear. I think, John, what's really going on, the Arab neighbors are sick of Hamas. They're sick of Mahmoud Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian Authority. They have gotten on with their relations with Israel, with trade with Israel, with improved relations with the West. And who has not? Hamas, Palestinian Authority. They're being left behind by history. So I think that's one of the reasons the Arab nations finally turned on Hamas and said, we're done with you. If Hamas tries to cling to power, it will really be up to those Arab nations to say, no, you can't. Turkey and Qatar are going to be the 2 most crucial nations because they have the greatest influence on Hamas.
Yeah, I guess, when you look at the broader Middle East, what's going on in the United Arab Emirates and the prosperity they're experiencing there, in Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, MBS wants to completely revamp the Saudi Arabian economy. The thing that was holding everything back was Hamas and Hezbollah in the Middle East. A lot of talk that President Trump should be a shoo-in for the Nobel Peace Prize. Here's what Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania said about it earlier today.
Well, I mean, if this sticks, I think the whole point of having a Nobel Peace Prize is for ending wars and promoting peace. If he brings the Ukrainian war to its end, I'll be the Democrat leading the committee for his Nobel Prize Peace for ending both of these terrible wars.
All right, so Fetterman's hedging a little bit, saying, well, if he can solve Ukraine too, then he's a shoo-in. But if President Trump is not awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for solving this, and that is if this goes through, for solving this, untying this Gordian knot that's existed between Hamas and Israel for so long, if he is not awarded the Nobel Prize, what does that say about the process?
Well, I'm sorry to put it so bluntly, but who cares? The Nobel Peace Prize has been useless for generations. Ever since they gave Barack Obama the Nobel Peace Prize for doing nothing, it is the Democratic Peace Prize. It is the Liberal Socialists of Europe Peace Prize. It has nothing to do with actually solving problems or getting things done outside the scientific realm, where I think that they actually do good work. But when it comes to peace, no. It is a totally lopsided establishment, old school view of the world. And here's the key factor. What got this agreement done was the fact that Donald Trump and Steve Witkoff are outsiders. Anybody who followed the regular diplomatic playbook would have made no progress in the Middle East.